Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. Happy hump day to everybody. Rachael Kirkconnell recovers from the Bachelor experience. We'll jump into this story. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Hey, I might do a stand-up show tomorrow night in Ontario, California. Let me know if you would come. Send me a DM. If I have a few more people come, I'll go out there and do a show. Good lineup. Patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want extra behind-the-scenes bonus content. All right, so Rachael does an Ask Me Anything. She says, links, ask me anything, spill the tea. And then, of course, people said, does watching The Bachelor give you guys PTSD? Or are you just grateful you found each other? And she said, haha, both. I could barely watch it when it aired and have yet to rewatch it. Probably never will. But so blessed to have been placed into each other's lives. I don't think someone should complete you or be your sole form of happiness, but Matt enriches my life immensely and brings me so much joy. He is my best friend. I will go ahead and say that the issue that Rachael and Matt went through is a top 3, if not top 1, most dramatic thing that ever happened on the show, that being that Rachael had photos from her college experience where she was at an antebellum themed party, of course not understanding the history behind, I shouldn't say of course, but not understanding the history behind those parties in that time of the world and where we were as a country. And because of that, came under fire, along with another accusation from a random person from her high school, which never turned into any sort of physical receipts or anything. But she was essentially silenced by the show and finally spoke out in this video before the Women Tell All, before she was supposed to have her own chance to speak out on behalf of the show. As we know, if you guys followed anything to do with this story, education is the most important thing here. Learning that, a lot of people's school systems don't properly teach what the Confederacy was all about, don't properly teach about how slavery and the history of slavery within our country has to do with the founding of our country. A lot of that's washed over in a lot of parts of the country, in a lot of different states. It's a retelling of history, and because of this, people are pushing back, and now Rachael addressed it. Said, anti-racism resources, and to those defending me, moving forward, I will utilize my platform to amplify voices that are extremely knowledgeable. And then she spends 7.5 minutes speaking from her heart and telling people, while not making any excuses, what was going down. And this is a good thing. This is a good thing to share your story, your thoughts, be okay not having all the answers, being okay coming from a place where you don't know everything. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Now, obviously, there was a huge fallout when she went on the Women Tell All, or I should say not Women Tell All, but this would be the After the Final Rose, where, I mean, look, I'm not here to judge people's bodies, but she looks emaciated. She's got heat blotches. I mean, she wasn't her best version of herself. Her and Matt, while they left the show hand in hand, were not official after this thing went down. They broke up. He was kind of canoodling with others. Then they did like she was like, I am not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to be a side piece or a random person. Either we're official or not. Either we try this or we don't. She gave him that sort of ultimatum, and it's one that he probably would say that he needs. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he did say that in podcasts where he rose to the occasion. He rose to the level that she needed him to be, and they got this special second chance. So now we look at their photos, and they're out there, and if you follow their Instagram, now, of course, nobody's perfect. Everyone's got their good moments and bad moments, but they're out there living their dream, eating every burger in town, and enjoying life. So she said the situation led her to her best friend, and he enriches her life immensely, and that brings her joy. But at the same time, hasn't been able to rewatch the show that... Obviously, now we know this, Chris Harrison, while protecting the show, you might say he did a bad job. You might say he did a fine job. I don't know what your opinion is. In protecting the show and speaking on behalf of the show, ended up getting fired from the show. You might say he quit, whatever. He didn't want to leave the show. We all know that. And it was one of the biggest stories that we've ever seen on the show. And from this story, rather than building this exoskeleton of sort of bitterness and all that, we've seen a love story take place. One that they're still not engaged. They're just living their life on their own terms, and good for them. They get asked that all the time. Rachael told Us Weekly, I think we understand where the questions about an engagement come from, because obviously we came off a show that expects an engagement at the end of it and whatnot. So now it hasn't gone anywhere, of course, because they've expected it since day one. So I think at this point, we're just kind of used to it because, like I said, they've just been expecting it for the entirety of our relationship. I don't think it really affects us anymore, or it really ever did. Of course, there was a rumor that they were having a baby a few weeks back. That rumor came because Matt made an Instagram video where he put a car seat in the back seat of a car, which ended up being a toddler's car seat. So if he really wanted to sell the idea they were having a baby, he should have used a baby's car seat. Anyway, so we followed the news from their breakup to their makeup to the photos in Florida to the photos on the streets in Brooklyn. It was a wild, wild story. Paparazzi following TMZ and all that, but we're happy to report that that they are doing well. And good for them. And mental health needs to be talked about more on the show and more in our communities, because too many people watch this show, expect perfection out of people, and then when they don't rise to that perfection, we act like we're all perfect ourselves, and that's just not the case. Time and time again, we've got contestants that were on the show speaking out about how destroyed they've been from being the target or having the magnifying glass on them from the show. Demi Burnett on New Year's last year said, this is going to be the hardest thing to ever post, and I'm so embarrassed, but I'm going to be real. My ego is livid. Happy New Year. This is me 24/7. I'm not doing anything to envy. I'm not happy. I'm not social. I'm constantly thinking and crying and trying to figure everything out. Countless hours blaming myself for everything that's caused pain. I haven't had a sip of alcohol in 5 months. Talking to a psychiatrist on Monday. I'm having an emotional breakdown every few hours. I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed most of the time. You know, she had to go to the emergency room after giving up alcohol. And, you know, she had a seizure. This version of me, the one who stays in and avoids people, is who I have suppressed my entire life. I find comfort in exploring my head so much that it's my preference to be alone. I can only ever truly be myself when I am alone. No more camouflage. And so, look, I mean, obviously Demi's talked about finding out she has... finding out she's suffering from, her own issues that are very unique to her, and understanding that she's masked a lot of those, and she's, found out she's got autism and all these other things. So good for her for exploring who she is. Everyone doesn't, recover from the show the way Rachael has, which is to say that Rachael has found her person to lean against and maybe because of the drama that Rachael and Matt had from the show, maybe no one can truly relate to them the way they can, and that might be some glue that sticks the relationship together. Here's Dale, who on the previous season talks about his mental health. This video was released just a couple weeks ago, and I'm just hearing it for the first time. Very well shot, great video. Audio's kind of poor quality. I'm not here to wreck the audio. I'm just here to say, in case you can't hear what he's saying, but he talks about his mental health fallout after his journey with Claire.
Like so many people, I struggled with during the pandemic, with changes in life, changes in career, obviously being in a very, very public relationship. So hopefully you'll be able to take some great things from this panel. I'm going to connect and share some stories with y'all. Also, I'm going to introduce you to...
So he shares some stories from this panel. Let's go to the 3:15 mark here in New York City. Makes a nice vlog about it.
Personally, there's a lot of things that I've held in for a very, very, very long time. And when you don't feel like you can share good understanding, it becomes sometimes debilitating.
He says, when you don't feel like you can share the issues you're going through, it can sometimes feel debilitating. Again, not great audio there, so I'm not going to play. I'm going to get out of that and not play.
What happens when you...
And now here's Clayton, our most recent Bachelor. I mean, how many receipts do we need to show that every single person who goes on the show suffers in one way or another from the fallout of the show? And you might say, well, then why do they sign up for it? I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to say, why do they sign up for it? You can't possibly understand what might happen to your psyche after going on the show.
You can't escape the cyberbullying that's plaguing you. These are the messages that I was sent at the conclusion of the show. This was actually all sent within a span of 2 days. But what's so dangerous about this is that a lot of these individuals, I bet, thought that I'm just going to send him this message. It's only one message. It's not going to make a major difference. But the pile-on effect is a scary thing, and that's...
Now, you guys might have seen, I shared some messages the other day of people making fun of different parts of me, and once I blocked them, they created 3 more accounts, and then after I blocked them there, they started messaging my fiance. Now, look, those troll messages, they don't bother me at all. You know, what bothers me more is when I know it's not a troll. But when it's a troll, when it's someone who's just trying to inflict pain, it's like, who cares? Who cares? But I understand that they get it 1,000 times worse than I do. People judging Clayton for the decisions he made. He's never even watched the show before. He went into that blind. He had no idea the way the producers were going to recklessly sabotage him. Now, McKenna, she's been outspoken about what she's gone through. I'm so sorry for what you had to go through. I don't know what it's like coming off as a lead, but I do know what it's like as a contestant. Easily went through the darkest year of my life. People don't realize the impact their negative words can have on a person. Proud of you for speaking up and also knowing that you and your mental health matters. Thank you for taking the time to share this message. Much love as you go through this next season of your life. It's not an easy one, but talking and being vocal of how you're doing helps and is so important for that healing process. What people don't realize is that the sounds of negativity, criticism, the trolls that are out there, they're deafening. They're way louder than the sounds of hope and love. And, you know, I think most people are better off because of it, but I think there's a better conversation to be had, which is, as an audience, how are we okay, saying some of the things that we're saying to them? How are we okay operating from a place where we think we're better than they are? Now, generally speaking, we're watching a TV show with a lot of young and very attractive people, so we must have this sort of idea, at least some of us, I say this, the people that are trolls out there, that because their lives might be better off, we feel like we can knock them down, and it's just a sad and scary place, one of which I want no part of, so I'm all about spreading that love, that joy. Let's keep doing that on our channel. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Oh, there's one last thing. Let's cut this music. There's one last thing I wanted to promote before I get out of here today. Let me see if I can find it. Of course, that is our teacher of the day. We've got our new teacher, a 2nd grade teacher in Kansas. So now that this video is over, go ahead and find Mrs. Finder's classroom supplies on Amazon. You can click on any of the supplies that are still needed out here, add them to the cart. Every single day this week, we're helping a teacher in need stock up her classroom because the government doesn't provide the teachers enough, in most cases in the United States, enough funding, and they pay for that out of their pocket. They're setting up their classrooms in the summertime, unpaid. They're working. They work very hard and they don't get enough. So, link in the description below. You can go check that out and help our teacher of the day. I expect everyone who's listening from Kansas to go help her. All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.